I'm going to tell you how to lose body fat so fast in 2025 that it feels illegal. I'm Millie, founder and CEO of Team CBM. We are an online coaching company for women, and we have transformed hundreds of women across the world to be incredibly confident in their bodies and in their minds. Myself, I have lost 50 pounds of stubborn body fat for good, kept it off forever. I've also competed as a natural bikini athlete and got shredded, stepped on a bodybuilding stage after having been overweight my whole life. So I really know what it takes to lose body fat and to lose it fast and to lose a lot of body fat. Now, this video is not for the faint-hearted. What we're going to be talking about today is rapid fat loss protocols. And that means that there's a lot of people listening to this video that probably won't be able to sustain it. But at least I'm going to try and give you the tools that you need with regard to your mindset. That's going to be the most important part first, and then the actual practical applications of what to do in order to yield incredible fat loss results. So if you're someone who doesn't like waiting and who knows that you're capable of a lot of hard work, then keep listening to this, because I promise you, your 2025 is going to be the most jaw-dropping transformation. So I can't wait to tell you where to begin. Firstly, everyone knows by this point, with all the information on social media, that you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. So we need to be expending more energy than what we're consuming. What most people will tell you to do is to eat the same amount of calories each day. But honestly, that is not the approach that I would take if I wanted to lose body fat fast. Ultimately, if we're going to be moving more on certain days, then on those days, we would end up being in a bigger calorie deficit. Let's use this as an example. There is one day where I am sat at my desk and I'm not really doing anything other than ticking off the 10,000 step target that I have. It's a rest day. I'm not going to the gym working out. All I have done that day is 10,000 steps. Maybe from those 10,000 steps, I burnt 200 calories. So if I ate 1,800 calories that day and I burned 200 calories, then my total amount of calorie or positive net balance is going to be 1,600 calories. However, let's say there is another day where I am really active. I go for a morning walk. I then go for a hike later on in the afternoon with my friends. In between, I also go and do an arm workout. And in the evening, just for fun, I randomly get invited to a yoga class, so I decide to go to that. I have spent the whole day moving and I have eaten 1,800 calories. Yet on that day, I have burned 1,000 calories. So that means my net positive is 800 calories. What's going to happen on that day is that I'm going to be so hungry that day or the day after, because I have put my body in such a significant deficit in an acute period of time. That is going to spike my hunger hormones. I'm going to be really hungry. And it means that the next day, I'm probably not going to expend as much energy because I'm feeling a little bit lower on energy. So what I would recommend is actually having slightly higher amounts of food on the days where you're being more active. And then on the days where you're moving less, you can eat less. So if we think about the day where I only did 10,000 steps and nothing else except for sit at my desk, what I could do rather is eat even less to put myself in a calorie deficit that is greater. So maybe on that day, I could have eaten 1,500 calories. And then if I burned 200 calories, my net positive would have been 1,300 calories. I'm still in a deficit, but it's not a crazy severe deficit as it would have been on that day where I burned 1,000 calories. So what you can do is you can use the calorie calculator that's in the description box below, and you can find the amount of calories that you need to eat in order to lose body fat. Then you can take that daily calorie number and you can put into ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, if I have 4 workouts per week where I'm more active and I tend to get more steps on those days and I would like to eat a little bit more, how many calories should I eat on those 4 days of the week? And then how many calories should I eat on my rest days? And that way, you're actually going to be giving yourself the energy where you need it in your week to feel your best and to regulate your hunger hormones. And that way, on the rest days, you're still in a pretty significant deficit, but you don't need more food on those days. So this is an interesting approach that not many people will take, which is tactically placing their food where it's going to serve them best and maybe just sucking it up on their rest days and eating a little bit less, appreciating that it's going to feel a whole lot better if on the days where you're active, you get to have more food. Then when we're talking about actually how much of a calorie deficit should you be in, well, ultimately it depends on how much body fat you're wanting to lose each week or each month. So the beautiful thing about the calorie calculator that I've said is linked in the description box is that depending on the rate of fat loss which you want to see, it will tell you how many calories you should be eating. So just make sure to be honest when you input your data of your age, obviously your height and your activity levels, because that's really important. And then it will tell you the exact amount that you need to eat for the rate of fat loss which you desire. The other thing when it comes to creating a calorie deficit is movement. So how much are we going to move? Well, again, some coaches, some people on social media, they would tell you to keep it consistent. They would say, do 10,000 steps per day. Do 20 minutes of cardio each week, and then maybe over time bump it up to 30 when you've lost a pound. But that's really slow and steady, and it's not what we're looking for here, which is fast fat loss results. So I like to think about optimizing energy expenditure as much as possible. It's really important that where you can do more, you do more. So on a day where you've got a real busy time and you're struggling to fit in anything else other than the bare minimum, I would recommend that you just stick to your baseline. So set a baseline such as 10 to 12,000 steps, and that is what is the baseline amount of movement that you do on that day. If you have the opportunity to go above that baseline and you find that actually on a certain day you've got some time in the evening where you can go for a little bit of a walk, or actually if you happen to wake up earlier and you can get some extra movement in, do more. Think about moving as much as possible, all the time. Park further away from the building that you need to walk into. When you're brushing your teeth, walk around. If you are sitting on the sofa at the end of the day for 2 hours, guess what you could be doing? You could be moving. Especially to those of you in colder climates, getting a walking pad, a small mini treadmill that you can put in your apartment or your home and have it at your desk. Maybe when you're watching TV, Netflix, you can just walk on that bad boy and expend energy all the time. So I would try and move as much as possible and get more steps on the days where I'm able to get more steps. And also where you can do more cardio, I would do more cardio. Can you do 10 to 15 minutes on the Stairmaster or the elliptical after your workout? Great, do it. Can you go for a little bit of a longer run if you don't have anywhere to be? If that's your form of cardio, do it. Don't go overkill. There is a very, very important thing to factor in here, that your body at some point will struggle to recover if you are just doing more and more, but it's these little extra bits that help. We also want to be tracking what we're doing. So say for instance, if I look at this week, if I've done 4 lifting sessions in the gym, after each lifting session, I did 10 minutes of cardio on the Stairmaster, and on average I got 11,000 steps each day this week, then because I've tracked that so meticulously, I know that the next week I need to get 12,000 steps per day average. Maybe I'm going to bump it up to 12 or 15 minutes of post-workout cardio after each one of my training sessions. And that ultimately means that there's more movement over time. And if you're doing more over time, you're going to continue to lose body fat. It is really important that you appreciate that some weeks you can't do more. It's not going to be linear progression, but on the whole, if you can try and keep up with a little bit more each week, you will certainly be moving in the right direction to lose body fat faster. And ultimately, if you do more when you can do more, you'll lose body fat faster than if you did 10,000 steps and then it was 6 p.m. and you sat just watching TV, watching YouTube, not moving, and you were there for 3-4 hours where you could have been using that to expend some energy. So it is important to not think, okay, I'm going to use that 4 hours to exercise, but okay, if there's 4 hours where I've got nothing to fill, can I do some more movement? Can I go for a walk? And you'll start to become a fitter and healthier person too. And naturally, fitter and healthier people, guess what? They move more because they actually just have this underlying energy where they are able to move that much more because they're so much fitter. Off the back of what we said, you're not going to know if you're actually doing more or eating correctly unless you're tracking everything perfectly. And this is the boring part, is that you actually have to set aside intentional time to track what you have done. You would really benefit from having some form of tracking app where you can have everything in there. And the thing that we have for our clients is we have a coaching app that allows them to track their nutrition. If they've stuck to their nutrition plan, they can track their habits of how much they've slept, how much they've done in terms of steps, and how many workouts they've done, how much cardio they've done. It's all in one place, and it literally produces graphs to say, okay, compared to last week, this is what happened, this is what you did. So it's nice if you have some form of coaching where that's integrated. If you don't have that, the best thing that I can advise is that there's apps that will be out there where naturally you're able to track food, like MyFitnessPal, NutriCheck, for example. There's plenty of food tracking apps out there. Then the same thing goes if you've got some form of step tracker or some form of smartwatch that can track your activities, and then you can use that for reference. But set aside the time to be intentional about taking your progress photos every single day, if you're comfortable with it, taking your body weight, taking measurements on a weekly basis, and not missing. Do not miss, because if you miss, you're not going to be seeing the results as quickly as you would like. Then finally, everything changes when you have accountability. When you have someone who's got an objective eye to look at your progress and to pick you up when things are tough. Or if you're wondering whether actually that's the best approach, having someone with years of expertise and years of guidance is ultimately going to help you a lot, because you don't know what you don't know. And there might be times in your journey where maybe you're feeling really sore from your workout, and then you know that actually you should be doing more next week, but do I rest or do I keep going? And the answer is you need to do what allows you to be consistent over time. And if you've overdone it and you've overtrained, you need to allow your body a little bit of time to recover in order to keep progressing and then not go as intense moving forwards. But these are the type of things that are very nuanced and very individual to you that you might not know unless you had an experienced eye guiding you on what the right decisions are. So ultimately, if you want to lose body fat fast, you need to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit which is harsh enough and that you're sticking to that meticulously through a nutrition plan or tracking your food accurately. You need to move as much as you possibly can do and appreciate that it's okay if you eat less on the days where you move less, and you can eat a little bit more on the days where you move more so that you're not in a huge calorie deficit. Then make sure without a doubt that you are being meticulous with tracking absolutely everything and having some accountability along your fat loss journey to keep your head screwed on when you're confused or when you're questioning yourself or when things get tough, because they will do. That's life. Life happens when things get tough. The one thing that I will say, and if you have listened this far, I'm so proud of you, because to anyone who doesn't listen after this, they're going to miss the most important point that will allow them to actually sustain fast fat loss results forever. The most important point is to have an exit plan, right? What's going to happen? You achieve this incredible fat loss and then, okay, I spent all this time moving, I've stuck to my calorie deficit, and now I can just eat what I want and I'll keep up with my training, but I don't have to go and do those 15,000 steps now. And then you just stop moving as much. You start eating more and the scale weight goes up. Your clothes start to feel tight again. And before you know it, you're back to square one. And that's because you don't have an exit plan. You don't understand what to do when it comes to easing yourself out of fat loss. You will have had some metabolic adaptation occur as you are in a new body. That new body has different energy demands. And actually, your previous normal can never be the same normal that happens moving forwards. You have new standards to maintain a new body. But what are those standards? What do they look like when it comes to how much you need to move, how much you need to eat? Well, you don't know what you don't know. And this is why it's so important to have an expert that is able to guide you through the reverse diet process. You must reverse diet in order to be able to retain your results. All of our clients that have had amazing fat loss results have had a reverse diet process, because it means that we've primed them to be able to maintain that body, and then they can keep it forever because we've also instilled and integrated the habits that they need for their new body into them before they fly the nest and graduate. So you must have an exit plan or know how to reverse diet. And if that's something that you're confused about or you could use a little bit of support with, then just go and find me on Instagram and send me the message reverse diet, and I will get back to you with some support on how you can do that for yourself, because it is very, very specific. But ultimately, I don't want anyone listening to this video not to be able to get the results that they want and then to go back to square one. So if you have enjoyed this, guys, please drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're interested in having a little bit more help on your fat loss journey, then what I want you to go and do is check out my video on how I brainwash myself to lose 50 pounds of stubborn body fat for good. Catch you in the next one.